You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
It's commanding. Almost as though she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
You must have the wrong address.
Great job. You gave away the element of surprise. Good luck, hero. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
You weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me. How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
Poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
Do you hear the conviction in her voice? Do you see the razor sharpness in her gaze? I don't think she's bluffing. She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
Then I'm not talking to you.
You stare at the princess, squinting. She squints back. The two of you are going to do this forever, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
For goodness sake, the two of you can't just stand around like this forever. Eventually, something is going to give, and I highly recommend that you be the one to take the initiative here. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. You and the princess stare at each other, both gasping for breath, equally exhausted. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure that she won't make it out of here. Excuse me? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish the job. The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow, but you push through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you fall to the floor.
This was fun.
The princess gasps, her voice an unhealthy rasp as her lungs start to fill with blood.
You put up more of a fight than I thought you would, but I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
There it is again. That razor-sharp look in her eyes and the terrifying conviction in her words. But you don't have the time to worry over such things. Everything goes black, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's going to kill us again. Oh, is there another one of us in here? If you go to the cabin, you might as well just throw yourself at her feet and beg for mercy. You are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff that pathetic little voice to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead. Such magnificent gusto. We'll all be in the clear in no time. I have one last warning for you. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. It's not her lies that'll stop us. I must admit, I'm a little worried about going back in there. I don't want to be as much of a downer as my new roommate, but we were definitely outclassed last time. She seems more demon than princess. Ignore them, they don't know what they're talking about. She's just a princess. Don't get all in your head about it. The interior of the cabin is larger than it should be. The only item of furniture is a plain wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old wooden staircase. The steps are wide and deep. The air seeping up, her fierce voice carries up the...
Who's there?
It's somehow even fiercer than...
Of course it is. Don't let it intimidate you. You carefully make your way down the stairs. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Is it just me, or is she bigger than last time? It looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought. I told you. It's pointless.
I was wondering when I might have company. Free me from my bindings, and maybe I'll let you live for a while.